In this work package, we focus on transboundary crisis management in the context of European multi-level governance. We look at how EU crisis management in 4 policy domains interact with national level. So how do the EU shape and influence national crisis management? How do actors cooperate between the European level and national levels? How competence are shared? The 4 sectors we look at are invasive alien species, banking crisis management, energy, infrastructure crisis, and youth unemployment. And currently we've been focusing on media salience and political responsiveness in the European Union. So what does it mean? The question we're asking is, are crisis management regimes related to the visibility of crises in the media, representing public opinion? And put differently, do policymakers in Brussels respond to crises, to events and incidents that have a transboundary dimension in the European Union? Are crisis management responsive to public opinion? So we analyzed representative newspaper from 7 countries between 2020 and 2016, and we analyzed all the articles we got in terms of volume, shape, and tone. We found 4 types of crises: acute European crises that are intensely felt across Europe, regional transboundary crises that affect only a limited number of countries, slow onset crises that have a more moderate impact at EU level, and below the radar crises that may have an impact but are still quite invisible at EU level. So in the case of youth unemployment, we found that the European was quite responsive in the sense that it put in place policies that responded to the stark rise of youth unemployment after the 2008 economic crisis, but responses can be considered quite mild because the European Union responses weren't as high as the level of attention it triggers, suggesting that national policies are still much more important. Banking triggered actually very direct and important stringent measures in terms of crisis management from the European Union. It was a very visible crisis and led rapidly to the adoption of full crisis management regimes. Invasive alien species achieve limited salience at the level of European Union, but nevertheless formal crisis management regime was put in place, suggesting that salience is not the only factor shaping crisis management regimes. And finally, for energy-related crises, the attention at the level of European Union was also quite moderate, but nevertheless we found different crisis management regimes, suggesting again that salience is one amongst other factors shaping crisis management regimes.